Hi, I'm Morgan Hines. I'm a senior reporter with PhocusWire, and I'm here in the PhocusWire studio at the Phocuswright Conference. Today, I'm joined by Oleg Naydonov, the executive chairman at VisaHQ. Thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We're so excited to learn a little bit more about what you're doing at VisaHQ. But I'd really love to dive right in with a question about kind of the topic du jour. I know that AI is kind of it for 2023. So I'd love if you could tell us a little bit about the potential for AI to improve travel logistics and that kind of process.
Yeah, I would be pretending if I have the correct answer. I think we are still in the very early tracks, understanding the impact that we might have potentially on the industry. But what we at least see in our niche, that the productivity skyrocketed, right?
Okay.
So, and it's not just the productivity internally, it's also the communication with our customers where we can attend more. So it's more personalized. That's
Right.
probably the trend that we're going to see moving forward in pretty much every track of the travel ecosystem.
Interesting. So can you give me kind of like a specific example on how it's increased the speed of those kinds of transactions for me?
So we started with a 35% automation level when we deployed our front-end AI to help the customers not just to submit the applications, but also answer any questions that they might have during the submission process.
Okay.
And we went from 35% to 85% automation level in 4-month time.
That's fast.
Yes, and with this scalability in mind, we can transition to there is no limit, right? So like we can go, as I said during my presentation, we can go from servicing millions of clients to billions of clients.
So how quickly, speed-wise, does that take things to make that transaction? Can you tell me about the difference in speed as a result of the AI?
Couple of things. So I think training is important, right?
Yeah.
So we trained our LLM, large language model, on 20 years of institutional knowledge that we have inside the
Right.
company. So the data set that you train your LLM on is critical.
Right.
And in terms of, I'm sorry, what was the question again? I was just...
It's okay. I guess I'm curious to know about the speed of the transaction specifically. I know you said you've increased from, what did you say, 35
Right.
to 85% automated?
So we are only limited by the speed of the compute power. OpenAI, we are using now Turbo 3.5 GPT, and it's pretty much, if their servers are overloaded, that's the only bottleneck for us,
Got
right?
it.
But in terms of the potential, right? So, and in terms of how many customers, that's probably the only restriction that we see. So we still have, as I mentioned, we are at 85%, so 15% of conversation, they go back to human beings.
Right.
And we never pretended that it's going to be, just all machine, right? So we're still augmenting our human beings with the power of AI.
Got it. That's really, really cool. With that in mind, what are the other risks that come with operating at that level of AI capability? And how do you address them?
I guess the biggest risk is still us understanding what's going on behind the curtain, right? So because it's kind of a black box. So we are looking at LLMs, and sometimes they call it hallucination, right? So, and catching that, especially at scale, becomes risky, because if something, and we are dealing, with private information, right? So we don't want that to float anywhere. So you got to keep it firewalled. That's the privacy concern, I would say, right? So to make sure it's firewalled. And the second is you still need, like we are training LLM model to audit those conversations. So if something goes off the track, it picks up and signals, and human being intervenes.
Awesome. And I guess with all this in mind, one thing that I'm kind of curious about is how AI can impact translation of languages while you're going through this process, and how that might change your process.
Fantastic. Actually, the whole generative pre-trained transformers, or GPT, is the byproduct of the previous translation LLMs.
Oh, wow.
Yes, and that's how they discover it, right? And that's why LLM is so good, let's say, with any programming language, because it's still a language. So you can say in English what you want to see, and you're going to get a code in Python, but it will translate from English to Python, which is way more structured than any other human language on the planet. So yeah, that's again, as a byproduct, and the speed of translations is given what we know, right? So we went from one main language, English, to 18 major languages in the world in just few weeks. And the beauty of this is that we no longer need to do anything with the maintenance, because LLM now watches, and if we update the content in English, it updates everywhere in all those 18 languages.
Wow, that's really, really cool. So we're running a little short on time now, and I'd love if you could just share a couple priorities for 2024 as we near the end of 2023.
Priorities, scalability, right? So like safety, obviously. So we still and scalability. Those are the priorities, and making sure that user journey. Again, our focus is on human being. We want to make sure that it benefits human beings, travelers, and everyone who's responsible for that travel to happen.
Got it. Thank you so much for being here. It was such a pleasure.
It was a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time.